Well, it's always a joy to have Nisha Jackson in the house from Ventana Wellness, and her passion for you feeling better and eating right and doing all the good things, and you still get the flu. I did all the right things and I still got it, but I didn't get that bad cold after it.
It's been a rough year. Every year it gets a little bit different. It's amazing. The flu strains are very virulent. People have a very difficult time getting over it. But I don't know if I mentioned this last time I was here, but they actually did a study that looked at the vitamin D levels versus the flu shot, and they found out that if you optimize your vitamin D, now that means that you have to be taking enough to get your level between about 60 and 80, and most people aren't taking enough vitamin D to get their level there. But if you were, it's equally, if not more effective than the flu shot. So kids need to be on this, adults need to be on this, everybody needs to be on vitamin D, and people feel happier. They're not as sad during the winter when their vitamin D levels are up.
I felt it coming on. I went and sat in the sauna for about an hour and a half and burned the living daylights out of myself. But I didn't get that nasty cold afterwards. I just had the ache and fever for about 2 days, and
that's good.
Then it wipes your strength out. But anyway, it's been a bad year. Well, your favorite topic.
Yes, my favorite topic, hormones. Hormones and mood. I love to talk about hormones and mood and hormones and sleep because so many people don't connect the dots. You know, they go see their medical provider, maybe they see many different people, including counseling, but they don't ever think hormones. And I think more and more medical providers now are thinking hormones. They're thinking that there may be a correlation between male menopause or andropause, where the hormones decline for men as they age, or when they're under a lot of stress, their hormones decline. And then also women, their levels decline with age, but also they don't have to be declining. Stress can imbalance your hormones, lack of sleep can imbalance your hormones, having too much sugar and flour can imbalance your hormones via the brain chemicals.
Wow.
So the blood sugar, the brain chemicals, the hormones, they're all interrelated, and they dramatically affect your mood.
Well, you've been beating this drum for 20 years.
20 years.
And now I'm hearing advertisements all over media about the whole hormonal thing.
Yes. Well, you know, hormones are really the messengers that go out to all of the tissues and organs in our body. They really run our whole system. And we're talking about hormones from the stress glands, the adrenals. We're talking about hormones from the ovaries or the testicular gland for men, and then also the hormones from the thyroid. So all three of those glands really run our entire system. So to say maybe it's just my hormones, those two words probably shouldn't go together, because hormones are very powerful.
Am I turning red?
Not quite. I can say a few more words to turn you red.
No, that's all right. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. So, how does that relate to mood swings?
Yes. So, you know, men often think it's just women that really have the mood swings, but we really are seeing now the very strong correlation between loss of testosterone in men or elevation in estrogen. Men make the same hormones as women, only in different ratios, right? So if men have too much estrogen and not enough testosterone, they become a little feminized, which means they can be more moody, they can be more irritable, they have problems with forgetfulness, their brain's not as sharp, they have a tendency to gain more weight around the middle part of their body, but mostly their mood changes. They don't have the tolerance that they used to for people, they don't have the patience. Women have a tendency to be sad and emotional and anxious and down. Men have a tendency to be controlling and irritable and angry and forceful when their hormones are affecting their mood. So that's when I think the testing is really important, to look at those levels, because not only is it just to help you to help your mood be better or be happier, but it's a healthier way to live. It's better for your heart, it's better for your brain. We now know that testosterone for men and estrogen for women is directly correlated with your neurobrain chemical serotonin. So all of those people out there that are taking an antidepressant or they're using something for anxiety, what they really should be doing is having their hormone levels checked, because it's very likely there's something off in the hormone area. And I just want to say this real quick, because I know there's a lot of people, Perry, that have suffered from being on antidepressants, and now we see more and more information that's coming out in the news.
Their moods are...
Yes, and they'll work initially, and then they won't work after that, and then you have to change the dose or raise the dose, and there is a place for antidepressants for sure in medicine today. But the problem is that the antidepressants actually change the hormone levels. So the hormone levels decline with the use of antidepressants. When the hormones decline with the use of antidepressants, it makes it almost impossible to get off the antidepressants. Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Because then you don't have a good backup plan.
Yeah.
So anyone who is either thinking about going on them or would like to get off of them or would like to feel better while taking them, hormones really need to be balanced, because it gives you a better backup plan to be able to tolerate your day-to-day functioning, especially in the area of being happy and having your zest back.
Is part of this cultural, because I don't think we've ever lived in such a pressure cooker like we are today. I mean, the stress level of everybody is through the roof, and it's bubbling at the top. And so how much of stress versus diet is the issue here? You
know, I used to always say diet was about 75% of somebody's success rate at getting balanced, hormonally speaking, and just feeling well. But now I think that it's really a combination of diet and stress management and sleep. Those three things are really key, and I don't know which one's probably more important. They're all very, very important. But the stress is a problem because when we're stressed, we engage in behaviors that are not healthy. When we're stressed, we don't sleep as well. When we're overstressed, we eat more sugar and comfort foods. When we're stressed, we stop exercising. When we're stressed, we have a tendency to be more lazy and can't get up and do the things that we need to that help us feel better and happier. So I think stress is really the culprit of many of the problems that we have today. As you can see the connections, but the same is true with sleep. If you don't sleep enough, the problem is you feel more stressed during the day because you don't have the mental ability to really focus and make good judgment or have good judgment. So these things are all interconnected, and I just think you got to keep the basics going. But sometimes I will say, Perry, people are feeling so down emotionally and so anxious that it's hard to say, okay, today I'm just going to do it. Today I'm just going to feel better. And I think having a better backup plan with somebody saying, okay, this is what you need to do, here's where your levels are, and this is how you get balanced. I think that sometimes you need that extra support. Not always, but sometimes you do.
All right, let me just say to our viewers and listeners, if you want to join the conversation, you can call us. The phone number is 776-5368. Nisha's with us for a little while longer, and we'd be glad to take your calls. All right, now, so get checked. And it's usually a blood test?
Yes, it's a blood test, and most insurance companies cover it. These tests have been around for 40 or 50 years. They're standard tests, although they're not typically ordered in the medical office. And so doing that whole profile, and I like to look at again, the ovarian or the testicular hormones, the main sexual hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, the thyroid hormones, a full thyroid panel, not just the TSH, and then the stress hormones coming from the adrenals, because that whole triad of hormones is really usually where you find the problem.
All right, and then how do you begin to treat it?
So then we look at the imbalance, and inevitably, if there's something going on with inability to sleep, or mood issues, or anxiety, or fatigue, we typically see the problem in one of those areas. So once we identify what the problem is, we can prescribe something that is, well, there's many different options, but typically we use bioidentical, natural-based hormones to be able to balance those areas that are off. And what happens is just in a period of a couple of weeks, those symptoms turn around. Sometimes in a period of a couple of days, those symptoms turn around. It is amazing when you give the body what it needs and what is natural to the human body, the body will turn around. It will correct itself. And the goal is to try to get the body to do it on its own rather than always overriding it with prescription medications. That's kind of the goal.
So, you have some other tips.
Yes. So a couple of other things, you know, we've always talked about diet, how sugar is a depressant, how you need to, if you really are addicted to sugar, which Perry, I can't even tell you how many people come into my office and say, I can't stop eating sugar, or I can't stop eating bread. And if you're a sugaraholic or a breadaholic, which I am, I mean, for sure I am. My daughter and I were just talking about that this weekend, how hard it is to stay off of sugar, because you know, when you're tired and you're feeling a little emotional or you're dealing with something emotional, your brain does not scream broccoli. It screams chocolate or sugar, right? That's what it screams.
Yeah, of course.
But the problem is that those foods reduce neurobrain chemicals that cause depression. And so we really want to stay away from those. And it takes 72 hours of not eating them in order to curb that craving. So it doesn't happen in one meal. 72 hours you have to gut out.
I have to go on a sugar fast for 3 days.
You can do it. You just have to eliminate all those things out there in the waiting area.
Yeah.
So taking an interest in other people, studies have shown that being interested in other people and other things reduces depression. We also know that giving back reduces depression. The studies have shown that showing gratitude to other people and giving back significantly reduces depression, and it helps people feel happier. Another thing that can be very helpful is you have to sleep. Sleep is the most restorative, well, it's the only restorative time of the 24-hour period in a day. So you have to get your sleep, and the studies continue to show, sorry Perry, 8 to 9 hours of sleep at night. If you're under stress, you need closer to 10. If you're not under a lot of stress, you need closer to 8, but 8 to 10 is still the recommended amount of time.
Well, then according to that rule, I should be sleeping Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I can work Thursday and Friday.
No, it doesn't work like that.
All right, let me see if we can get a call sneaked in here. Hi, Burl. What's on your mind today?
Well, I don't know if Nisha would want to answer, but I want to know if a person already has high cholesterol, that coconut oil they're trying to get people on.
Coconut oil.
Yes, coconut oil. I'm glad you brought that up because coconut oil is actually on my list today, by the way.
There you go.
But yes, coconut oil is an excellent omega-3 fatty acid to have in your diet. So I would recommend...
high cholesterol on that?
Yes, yes. You don't have to worry about the cholesterol. I don't know if you've been reading the most recent studies that we've been talking about for years. It's not the cholesterol that's the problem. So coconut oil is actually an oil that you can have. Organic, pure coconut oil would be better than the non-organic also. And most grocery stores have that now.
Well, there you go. All right, 7765368 if you have any questions for Nisha. So you're kind of high on that.
Yes, coconut oil is a great oil to have. It's a very, we call it a healing oil. You can use it on your body. You can use it in cooking. Some people find that it helps with skin disorders. But omega-3 fatty acids is on my list of things that help mood. Many studies have been done in the area of restoring the mood and improving levels of happiness and reducing depression with omega-3 fatty acids. So that would be fatty fishes like salmon or fish oil. If you don't eat fish, then you can take fish oil capsules. Walnuts wouldn't be another good source of omega-3 fatty acids, and not getting too much of the omega-6. But most of the fish oil capsules out there are just omega-3. The other thing that can be very helpful, which I, as a female, need to always remember this, is to not dwell on the past, mistakes particularly, and to stay out of the negative. Because it's so easy in today's world. I know, seriously, it's hard because, you know, our world is so full and you're always in your head. You're always thinking. You're always trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next minute? What am I going to do in 2 hours from now? And
it's wonderful,
yeah, and it's just too much. But a lot of it's negative. And unfortunately, the repeated negative thoughts in many studies has shown to lead to depression and anxiety. And anxiety can lead to depression because it just wears out your brain.
Right.
So and your whole mood. So I would encourage you, if you find yourself repeating negative thoughts, to actually, especially if you get a thought that keeps coming up for you, write it down on a piece of paper and then look at it and ask yourself, is this helping me in any way? Because typically, if we write that down on a piece of paper and we have to read it,
good thought.
It's not going to be very healthy for you.
Then mail it to Patrick Doyle. Just mail it over to him.
That's right. That's right. Other things that can be helpful, especially with women and hormones and mood, especially from a cyclic standpoint, evening primrose oil is another supplement that's very helpful. You know, we've gotten away from using some of the natural supplements that have been used for, you know, many years, hundreds of years. So evening primrose oil is another supplement that works very well for improving the mood, especially if it seems to be a cyclic problem where it kind of comes and goes.
Sleep deprivation can be pretty serious, huh?
Yes, sleep deprivation is a problem because, as I said, it's really the only restorative time in the day that it gives your body and brain a break to rehab and be able to gear up for the next day. And if you find that every day is, very busy and very stressful, you have to have your sleep to be able to restore your brain. And I think, and your soul too. I think that's very important. Your spirit needs to be restored, and that happens during sleep. Good
for you. All right, the big question. This is water.
Yes.
But coffee.
This is coffee. I think
caffeine.
I think caffeine can make you anxious if you have too much of it. I know my threshold is about 2 cups per day, and if I find myself drinking more than that, I just get not only wired, but I have a tendency to feel anxious. And that's a problem because you don't want to feel anxious. You don't want your body to be overstimulated. Also, some people think more is better with caffeine. Unfortunately, more is worse for caffeine because more than about 2 cups on average of just regular coffee, more than 2 cups actually sends your cortisol level down, which means fatigue. So you don't really want, more is not better when it comes to caffeine, and people keep drinking it throughout the day, these caffeinated beverages and these terrible sugary drinks that have caffeine, and I'm thinking it's getting better. It's making it worse. It overtaxes the adrenals, the stress glands.
All right, 65-year-old, hair falling out, nails don't grow, dry skin, hormones or thyroid?
Probably both. If you have a combination of those symptoms, especially hair loss, we often think thyroid. Fatigue, the skin with accelerated aging or skin problems, we often think male and female hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Testosterone, as you age, that level goes down, and with stress, testosterone goes down for men and women. And one of the things that we notice is real significant fatigue and loss of muscle mass, so their skin ages fairly rapidly. You lose your elasticity in your skin. So a lot of times you end up, your skin breaks easy or bruises easy. The elasticity is gone.
All right, let's go to, hi Joyce, you want to know how much vitamin D?
Yes.
Well, I will just tell you, in my practice, the patients take anywhere between 3,000 and 6,000 international units a day. And that level, that range, seems to maintain their vitamin D levels the best. Anything below 3, especially in the winter, I just don't see optimal vitamin D levels at all. Again, it's better to have it tested and see where you're at. It's difficult to get too much vitamin D over 5,000 under 5,000 international units a day. And to be honest with you, I've seen maybe 2 cases in the last year where somebody was getting too much vitamin D. So it just doesn't really happen that much, but it is important at some point to get tested.
All right, thank you, Joyce. Velma, you want to know about melatonin and sleep?
Yes, Nisha, I wanted to ask you, is it okay to take it every night?
Yes, melatonin is actually an excellent antioxidant, and melatonin can be used every night. I think that the quality of melatonin is very important. There's some very low potency, poor quality melatonins out there, which would explain why some people say, oh, melatonin doesn't work for me. It probably is a very low quality melatonin that they're using. We use a very high quality melatonin in our sleep supplement, so you can use less of it. And I think that if it works well for you, you should continue to use it. There isn't any reason why you can't use it every night. But some people find that it works better if they take a break from it intermittently. So that's another option,
too.
Well,
the reason I was wondering is somebody said if you take it all the time, then your body depends upon it, won't make its own.
No, that's not correct. Melatonin is an excellent antioxidant and can be used strictly as an antioxidant also. And your body will continue to make melatonin on its own. It's one of the brain chemicals that's produced naturally.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The actual supplements you use for testosterone and estrogen, now let's say you get the levels back up. Do you come off those supplements?
It depends on the age. So if you're a 50-year-old male and your levels of testosterone are low, and we optimize those levels and bring down the estrogen, bring up the testosterone, the man's feeling great, he's got his life back, he's back on track, we probably wouldn't take him off of that for quite some time, because when you go off of the testosterone at age 50 or later, your levels will go back to a deficient state and then the symptoms will return. So for health purposes and to basically remove the symptoms that a man is having, we would keep him on the testosterone probably long term, or as long as he wanted to. If they're younger, if it's a 30-year-old male, we would only have him be on it until the levels were optimized, and then he would come off, because his body should be able to manufacture that on his own.
Can you OD on this stuff?
Yes, you can get too much hormone, for sure, any hormone. And again, I think the balance is key. You can take too much aspirin, you can use too much estrogen, you can use too much testosterone, you can use too much melatonin. So there is a side effect from using too much, and that's why the balance and the testing is so important to know what you're doing.
All right, so you're talking a D, a C for daily?
Well, I love vitamin C. I think vitamin C is just one of those things. If I'm stuck on an island, I want some vitamin C. You might not need the vitamin D if you're stuck on an island, because you have plenty of sun, right?
Yeah, right.
Depending on what island.
So you like a multi D, C, B, and then
fish oil.
And fish oil.
Yes.
Okay, and then you also like, and then have your blood test done for your hormones, so you can see what you need to be done there. Pretty exciting. All right, VentanaWellness.com.
VentanaWellness.com.
Check it out.